T.I. explained himself. They only responding because, hit dogs holler. Now, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. T.I., T.I.'s son, they supposed to think that that's beauty, but I think deep down inside, T.I., he know what it is.
Would you want for your son to say something?
I can't honestly say I would want my son, especially the age.
Can't
I know
older.
he's
older.
our son, but ain't he older?
Yeah, older.
He's 20 or 21 or something.
Yeah.
I would just want to handle it myself. I wouldn't want my kids or my family to.
But people that love you, you can't tell them.
A rumor recently began circulating online that 50 Cent might be producing a documentary about one of the most controversial and unresolved stories in hip-hop. This isn't just a typical celebrity gossip story. It's about the serious allegations surrounding T.I. and his wife, Tiny Harris. The rumor alone created an immediate buzz online. People were intrigued, curious, and even divided in their opinions. This story has been in the public eye for years, with details first surfacing in 2021, yet it has never been fully resolved in any legal or public forum. The claims have involved attorneys sending letters to federal authorities, and despite this, no court has definitively settled the matter. When you add 50 Cent into the mix, a man known for turning controversies into major media events, it naturally captures attention. People stop scrolling, discussions spark, and the story gains a life of its own. To understand why this situation continues to attract attention, it helps to look at the timeline and the nature of the allegations. These claims first appeared publicly in 2021 when several women began sharing their experiences online. They recounted encounters with T.I. and Tiny that allegedly took place over a span of years, from the mid-2000s to the late 2010s. Reports at the time indicated that attorneys representing some of these women said that more than 20 people had reached out with similar stories. According to these accounts, the women met the couple at clubs, parties, or industry-related events. Some of them claimed they were taken into private settings where situations became uncomfortable, often after drinking was involved. A number of the individuals described feeling disoriented or confused afterward, suggesting the effects of substances. A few of these incidents reportedly occurred in different states, which meant that if formal investigations had been pursued, multiple jurisdictions could potentially have been involved. Attorney Tyrone A. Blackburn came forward publicly, stating that he had been contacted by several women who had troubling stories. He sent letters to law enforcement agencies in Georgia and California, as well as to federal offices, urging authorities to open official investigations. Blackburn also mentioned that some of these individuals were willing to speak directly with investigators if inquiries were initiated. Despite these efforts, the situation ran into a major legal hurdle. Many of the alleged incidents had taken place years before, sometimes more than a decade earlier. This presented a problem because the statute of limitations for certain potential charges had already expired. In other words, even if the claims were found credible, legal systems in some regions might not allow prosecutors to move forward. Blackburn acknowledged this limitation, but argued that the gravity of the accusations warranted a thorough review. The accounts came from a diverse group of individuals. Some were former military service members, others were dancers, studio interns, or people who had encountered T.I. and Tiny at nightlife events. Several described interactions that left a lasting emotional impact, noting that they had never publicly shared their stories until 2021. Throughout all of this, T.I. and Tiny have consistently denied the allegations. Their legal representatives stated that every encounter with other adults was entirely consensual. Their attorneys characterized the accusations as unfounded and exaggerated, suggesting that the situation might resemble a coordinated attempt to damage the couple's reputation rather than legitimate criminal claims. The defense team emphasized that T.I. and Tiny have lived very public lives within the entertainment industry, attending parties, hosting events, and socializing in the music and nightlife worlds. From this perspective, interactions with others were voluntary and part of their social environment. They also noted the same complication that challenged potential legal action. The alleged events happened years ago. Memories fade, physical evidence disappears, and witnesses are harder to find, making formal investigations difficult. According to the defense, the absence of criminal convictions combined with the time gap supports their argument that the accusations do not accurately reflect what actually happened. Despite the detailed and consistent defense, the allegations have not disappeared. They continue to provoke discussion and debate. Many people feel the story deserves further examination, even if legal authorities cannot pursue formal charges. For years, this case has existed in a kind of unresolved public space, with strong accusations on one side, firm denials on the other, and no clear legal resolution. Then something notable happened. 50 Cent went quiet. For someone so active and outspoken online, his silence was unusual. He had previously been publicly clashing with T.I. over other matters, trading jabs on social media, so the sudden stillness stood out. No memes, no Instagram posts, no comments, just a pause in his usually constant public presence. Shortly after, the rumor about a potential documentary emerged. Social media speculation suggested that 50 Cent might be exploring a project revisiting the controversy surrounding T.I. and Tiny in a documentary format. Although there has been no official confirmation from his team, the idea alone reignited public conversation. The reason this rumor resonated so strongly is not just because of 50 Cent's personality. Documentaries have a way of giving stories new life. Unlike a brief social media post or a single news headline, a documentary can explore details in depth, provide multiple perspectives, and potentially influence public perception. It can bring renewed attention to stories that were previously unresolved, forcing audiences to revisit events, reconsider evidence, and engage in discussion. For fans, critics, and the general public, the combination of a high-profile figure like 50 Cent and such a long-standing controversial story is irresistible. It reminds people that some narratives in the entertainment world never fully fade. They only wait for the right moment to re-emerge. A documentary is very different from a short social media post or a quick news headline. Instead of just giving a few seconds of information, it provides hours of context. It can show timelines, interviews, and personal accounts, often delivered in the person's own voice, step by step. When someone describes their experience on camera, explaining where they were, who they met, and what happened, it carries an emotional weight that reading a paragraph or a post online never could. This isn't just a guess. It's something that has been observed again and again in documentaries focused on the entertainment industry over the last 10 years. Supporters of a potential 50 Cent project believe that presenting the full stories of individuals in this way could bring a level of attention and depth that short posts or headlines have never provided. They argue that these stories were never fully examined when they first surfaced. The allegations gained headlines for a while, and then faded without meaningful resolution. A documentary, they say, could force a more honest public discussion and encourage people to think more deeply about what happened. Critics, however, see it differently. Many people who support T.I. point out that he and Tiny have repeatedly denied the allegations. There have been no criminal charges proven, and no convictions have come from any investigation. From this perspective, turning an unresolved controversy into a piece of entertainment before a court has made a decision can shape public opinion unfairly. A compelling documentary can feel like evidence even if it isn't, and that distinction is important. Critics also question the motivation behind the project. T.I. and 50 Cent have a long-standing rivalry that has nothing to do with these allegations, and some argue that a documentary produced in that context could be more about continuing a feud than seeking truth or justice. In their view, the person producing the story matters as much as the story itself. Supporters counter that the motive does not cancel out the facts. If people are willing to speak on camera about experiences they say are true, the identity of the producer or the source of the funding does not make those accounts any less real. This debate highlights the tension between narrative power and legal proof, between giving people a platform and potentially shaping perceptions unfairly. It reflects a dynamic that hip-hop and the entertainment industry have been navigating for years. There have been many cases where accusations circulated publicly for a long time before formal investigations caught up, and others where public attention forced narratives that courts later found unsubstantiated. There is no guaranteed way to know which category a controversy will fall into until all the information is out. What makes the situation involving T.I. and Tiny particularly complicated is that the full picture may never completely emerge. Statutes of limitations have likely closed off certain legal avenues permanently. Evidence and witnesses from events that allegedly happened more than a decade ago are difficult to verify. Both sides of the story are so far apart that there is no version everyone agrees on. A documentary, if it is made, would not resolve the debate. Instead, it would present one or multiple perspectives, leaving the audience to form their own conclusions. It could spark conversation, put pressure on institutions to re-examine claims, or simply deepen divisions among people who already hold strong opinions. Even before the rumor about 50 Cent's involvement spread, this controversy had largely faded from public discussion. Most people had moved on to other news. The debate was never resolved. It simply went quiet. Now the story has returned. Whether a documentary will actually be made, whether it will be thorough, and whether those involved will participate remain open questions. What is certain is that the conversation about T.I. and Tiny's accusers is happening again, very publicly, and 50 Cent, whether intentionally or through the rumor alone, is at the center. The story still has no ending. The allegations were serious, the denials were firm, and legal opportunities may have closed. Now a potential documentary threatens to reopen everything, reaching millions of viewers and reigniting discussion about a story that many thought had been left behind.